Super quick question here. How many tabs do you have open right now? If you're like me, it's a lot. And if you're running a business, it's a lot more. And with all those tabs, you're spending more time searching through data and less time, growing your business. But HubSpot's customer platform brings all your tools into a single powerful place that your teams can use together. So close those tabs. It's business growing time. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today.
Good morning, everybody. We are live from HubSpot Inbound 2024. Today is Thursday, September 19th. I'm Jon Weigell here with Ben Berkley and Martina Bretous, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Really excited to be here for the first day of our daily show session here at Inbound. We're going to dive into the latest and greatest on AI, from Apple's intelligence to iPhone 16 to NVIDIA's recent problems that they're having. We'll get to that in a bit, but first let's give you the hits and headlines today in business and tech. To start off, Ben, the Federal Reserve cut rates on Wednesday. Its first slicing in years. The exact rate is still not really known to us, but people who wear suits to work are very, very happy today.
They are, and good for them. We're happy for them. Also, this is just, it's awkward. We are recording this live in front of tens of thousands. Probably, I can't count right now, but it's a lot of people. At the time of this recording, we don't know how much rates were cut.
Yeah.
But we're gonna bet that they were. And people are, again, very happy. And there are so many ways it's going to play out for the economy. There's not enough time for us to go over that. And also, the closest to being an economist that I am is that my mom taught home economics. So really shouldn't trust me on all of the different effects of this. But needless to say, people are feeling good. Economy is going to be just going nuts today. We'll definitely come back to this later in the week.
That's really exciting. Please hire your mother to tutor me in economics.
I would
love that. So next up, Google may still be on the chopping block in the US for its search monopoly, but it's off the hook in the EU because the courts just overturned a $1.7 billion AdSense antitrust penalty against Google. So at least they don't have to sweat that anymore, which is really nice, I guess, for them.
Antitrust is the word of the year.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that when we dive into NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we are. Speaking of trusts, maybe more in the sports world, Michael Jordan's former home in Highland Park, Illinois, may finally be coming off the market after it's been on it for 12 years. The original $29 million asking price recently dropped to $14.8 million, and that may have been enough to entice a buyer, finally. The home includes 9 bedrooms, 19 bathrooms. Who needs that?
It always boggles my mind when you have a certain amount of bedrooms and then double the bathrooms.
Why are there more?
There were a lot more newsworthy things to put in here today. That ratio caught me in my tracks. It's like, no, we need to at least address this. People need to know
that alone deserves.
It's not okay. It's not normal. Yeah.
And on top of that, right, he has a 14-car garage as well, which is more of that, a cigar room, and Michael Jordan-themed decor, including 23 on the gates in front of it. So I hope the person that bought it is a big Michael Jordan fan.
You're keeping that, right?
Yeah, you got to keep it. I mean, what are you going to do?
You can't get rid of that.
What are you going to do? From there, we go to the University of Tennessee, which announced that it'll add a 10%, quote, talent fee to the cost of its football season tickets next year. This is the first of its kind move made in anticipation for some rule changes. Universities are expected to be able to share revenue with student athletes at some point next summer.
I
Interesting.
hate these fees. Anytime I see it, I'm the person who will read and be like, wait, what's this fee? Explain this to me. What is this? What is that? So adding a talent fee, I mean, maybe there's a good reason for it, but I'm the type of person who's like, please explain this to me in detail, why this is necessary.
So you would rather them just kind of make the price up front just way more expensive and then just kind of do this with that money.
100%.
Just bake it in.
Fair.
Right. Yeah, Martina, absolute menace at the Verizon store.
For sure.
So
I'm spending hours there. Break this down for me first.
So what you're saying is we should have all the people with buckets right near us waiting to put 10% in. We should call them off.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Our talent fee is not coming in today. That's fine.
No, thank you. And finally, Amazon has announced to its employees that it's going to require them to be in office full-time starting next year. As you can imagine, nobody's really happy about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be either. So
I mean, I'm in person with my coworkers right now, and I'm furious.
having the worst day.
Yeah, I'm here because I'm getting paid to be here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which I will say, yes, it is kind of unfair when you're hired remote and then you're asked to not become remote anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
At the same time, this is an employer who is asking for your services, and they can ask you to be in person. That
Yeah.
seems very okay for them to ask at the same time, as it just feels like just kind of like a dick move.
Yeah.
I mean, you make so many life decisions based on the knowledge that you're going to be remote. So then having to change those plans to come into office, I would hate it too.
Yeah. No, not a fan. Not a fan whatsoever. And from there, we can get on to our big points on AI today. Today's going to be a big discussion on AI. And let's start with Apple Intelligence. Martina, okay, so all the news coming out of Apple's Glow Time event on September 9th, we have iPhone 16, we have iOS 18, all these big numbers being thrown at me, right? But the issue is right now is that Apple Intelligence, which the iPhone 16 was touted as being built for, is now going to be delayed until March. What do you make of this delay in time frame?
You know, I feel like good things come to those who wait, maybe, right? We've seen so many AI products come out. They feel underdeveloped. They create a really negative first impression. So if Apple says that they have to wait a little bit longer for it to be worth it, I'm not mad because the features look amazing. So let's just hope that when it actually gets out, it is worth the wait.
Now, what are your expectations with Apple Intelligence? Do you think that it's going to build or do anything different that we maybe haven't seen before from like a ChatGPT or a Gemini?
Yes, they have so many cool features that I'm excited for. The first one that I'm most excited for is custom emojis. I already have one in my head that I'm planning to do. It's a woman holding a black cat eating pizza. Because when people ask me, what are you doing Friday? That's the emoji I would send.
Smart.
So very excited for that. They have, Siri's gonna have ChatGPT integration. Siri's just gonna be much better, which I'm really excited about. She's been pretty basic. And now you should be able to ask her or ask it more complex questions, ask follow-up questions. So Siri's just really stepping up its game. We also have visual intelligence. So similar to like Google Lens, where you can just use your camera, point it at something and say, hey, tell me what this is, what it does, etc. You can now do that with visual intelligence. So they have a lot of cool things in the works. Last thing, summarization. And I think this is probably one of the biggest things. You can summarize texts, calls, emails.
Wow.
That's probably going to be a game changer for a lot of people. If you're that person who gets a lot of notifications, it's going to prioritize it for you and tell you, hey, if you're getting a message, let's say, pick up your kids at 3, it's going to prioritize that over you have an Instacart delivery for tomorrow.
Wow.
So things like that, getting that context, it's supposed to be really big. So I'm excited.
Wow, that's really exciting. It's like you're getting a kind of a personal assistant type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also like no matter how late they are, no matter, if you think their features are looking good or not, this is still Apple, and like they are the maker of the mainstream. So
Precisely.
This will be, not to say the only AI launch that matters, but like the paradigm shifts when they say it shifts. So, it's going to work out for them. It's just a matter of how much is going to change the game for everyone else.
Right.
Exactly. People are going to be frustrated, but when it actually does come out later in March, there's going to be lines. People are going to be excited. They're going to forget that they even had to wait.
There's always going to be lines at
For
the
sure.
Apple Store every week that I go. And the last thing I wanted to talk about with Apple, right? They have this integration with Siri and ChatGPT. Do you know at all how that's going to work and what integration looks like across the devices for that?
Yeah. So if you're using Siri, you can ask it, hey, I want to talk specifically to ChatGPT, which is going to be cool. To use ChatGPT, you don't actually need an account. But if you have a premium account, you can access that through Siri. So it's going to be pretty interesting. You do have to prompt it first to access ChatGPT. So in terms of privacy, it's not like ChatGPT is all of a sudden going to have access to your personal information. So that'll be pretty interesting. And I think it's really going to have a big impact on people's lives, because when we think about products like Claude and ChatGPT, they're kind of isolated, separate devices, right? Or tools that you use. But having this integration in your phone, even users who are not really into AI, now we're probably going to be more likely to use it.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot before with like these AI pins that have been coming out, like the Rabbit R1, the Humane AI pin, about how they have these nice features, but none of those are really available on the phone yet. And we talked about like what do you see in the future of like them integrating this? And now they finally are.
Exactly.
On the phones, on Google phones, on Apple phones, and all the phones.
Of course, Apple had to be the one to do it. So.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from there, right, we're going to move on to NVIDIA, because NVIDIA, a lot's been going on with them. Big sigh across the board, I could see. A lot's been going on with them. They took a big nosedive in the stock market last week, and that's among kind of all the competition that they've been facing, all the potential antitrust rumbling. So what's your perspective on what's happening with NVIDIA right now? Where do you see them going from here?
Like I said earlier, antitrust is the word of the year. We saw Meta have to deal with that because of their acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp. Microsoft, because of their close partnership with OpenAI. Now we're seeing that with NVIDIA, because essentially the DOJ is saying that, the DOJ issued subpoenas to NVIDIA for breaking antitrust laws, and obviously that's why their stock tanked. Right. And they're saying that NVIDIA acquiring Run AI might be in violation of antitrust, but NVIDIA is saying, you know what, we're just a great product. Right? We're just a great product. We're not keeping the competition out of here, but people want us as the AI chip supplier, so we're not doing anything wrong. So that'll be interesting to follow.
Considering that they're going through these antitrust cases, or about to go through these antitrust cases, and competitors, do they still have a lot of growth potential in your mind? Because they're kind of right now sitting at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
A lot of the time that's a great place to be, a lot of the time that's a bad place to be, because everybody's gunning for you. So do they have even more growth potential now?
I think so. I think it's going to be hard to knock them off of their pedestal that they're on right now. Like I said, they're the most sought after AI chip supplier right now. And so all of these concerns may create room for like other players to emerge, but I think it's going to be hard to knock them off. I think they're still going to stay at the top for a little bit longer, at least.
Well, I mean, let's just note for a second that they quote unquote took a nosedive. They're still worth $2.7 trillion.
Exactly.
I would love to take a nosedive and still be worth $2.7 trillion.
Mine look different. Mine look different.
Yeah, my nosedives look very, very different.
Right.
And last thing on kind of the big tech company lens is Amazon. Right? So we talked about Amazon a little earlier, how they want to bring all their employees back to work full time. But in addition to that, they're kind of building out their AI a little bit more, starting kind of with Audible in a weird place where obviously Audible, big supplier of audiobooks, podcasts, all that. They're now saying that people can narrate or create AI clones of their own voices to narrate books. And of course, they have to sign on to the ones that they want to narrate. The authors have to approve it, whatever. There's a couple layers of approval there. But what do you make about this? Because I feel like there's been such a fight in media for so long about all of these people saying in the creative industry, like voiceover artists, script writers saying that AI is going to take their jobs. And now they're kind of like integrating to work with it. What is your opinion on that?
Usually I'm very doom and gloom about this type of stuff, but this is one I'm actually kind of excited about because I feel like it helps voice actors expand their brand awareness. It helps them, if they don't have the bandwidth, let's say, to work on over 1,000 books a year. This allows them to monetize their voice to be able to do more, even if they're not able to do it physically, right? So I'm kind of excited about it. I'm also thinking of a world where you can have your favorite narrator narrate your favorite books. So I see that happening potentially eventually.
Morgan Freeman narrating all my books.
Right. So for me, as long as it's contained, as long as there are guardrails and it's used in a specific way and the voice actors have full ownership and control over how their voices are being used, that's the goal. Now, if we're seeing unsanctioned uses, that's where it gets really dangerous, but hopefully it's not the case. It stays kind of contained here.
Yeah, hopefully they're able to keep it secure as well. Nobody's able to breach it, get all those voices, and do whatever they want with them.
Yeah, because that's what we're seeing with 11 Labs, right? That's happened multiple times. People downloading certain voices, voice actors' voices, and then using it for ads for the craziest things, right? So hopefully it's not that situation that's happening again, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's a simple formula, it feels like. If you replace humans and just to save money and make cheap products, I'm going to say that's bad.
Yeah.
If you are using this technology to widen access to work and widen opportunities, that's good.
Right.
It seems like they still don't really even know what this is. The thing that I really noted in this is that, you know, they're prepping this tech, but they've still got a policy on the books saying right now that all audiobook narrations have to be, you know, narrated by a human. So it just feels like they're trying to not be left behind here. And we'll see how it really plays out.
Yeah, they're trying for a head start. And last thing, also, Ben, you mentioned a very interesting statistic to us this morning I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, there was a poll from Common Sense Media that talked to a bunch of 13 to 18-year-olds about how they use Gen AI. And a lot of it was very normal. 53% use it for homework help, 41% use it for translation. What you'd expect to see for usage. What just broke my heart is 19% said they use it to create content as a joke. Which, if you are, what are you doing with AI if you're not using it to just kind of make
fun of things? I just want my favorite video game characters to just make out. That's
there it is.
Right?
That's it.
If I can just do that in a platform, right?
It's the only true use case right now. Yeah.
Right.
I have to say, I'm pretty disappointed in Gen Z. I expected more from them.
Yeah. A little humorless.
Right.
Let's pick it up.
I feel like I don't want to roast them, but because I love them. But I feel like they roast millennials and other generations so much for being unfunny, and I really expected them to really take advantage of AI more than Common Sense is saying they are.
Right. The millennial pause being called the Gen Z pause.
Right.
Right.
Ooh, I like that.
Come on. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and thank everybody at home for listening to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
With access to so much information, it's hard to feel like an informed, discerning citizen. That's why Make Me Smart, a podcast from Marketplace, makes it easy for you to stay in the know. Each weekday, hosts Kai Rizdal and Kimberly Adams unpack the latest from DC, explore the day's tech news, and they make sense of the economy. Because in a world that's constantly changing, we all need to stay smart. Listen to Make Me Smart wherever you get your podcasts. Heyo, hustlers. HubSpot's Inbound Conference is right around the corner, and you better believe the Hustle Daily Show will be there in full force. The lineup this year is as impressive as any. Ryan Reynolds, Serena Williams, Kara Swisher, just to name a few. And while we may not be as cool as Ryan Reynolds or as accomplished as Serena Williams, the Hustle Daily crew will be recording our podcast live every day, bringing you the latest in business and tech from the center of Inbound. You can catch us at the HubSpot Media Broadcast Studio every morning around 8 a.m. Be sure to check us out and come up afterwards and say hi. We'd love to meet you. We'll see you at Inbound.